Good morning, traders, and welcome back to the Trader Bacon Show. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We've got some great stuff for you today, but I wanted to start off with a couple of quick notes. First and foremost, congratulations to Apex Trader Funding. Last week, I announced that they were on the cusp of hitting the $200 million mark as far as funds paid out to traders. Not only did they pass it, they blew it out of the water. Over $208 million paid out to traders in the last couple of years, 2.5 years. So congratulations. What an amazing and incredible milestone. So I just couldn't help but, of course, announce that. I also want to recognize last week's winners of the evaluations. I have Bart, Edvinas, and Jaden. Hopefully I've pronounced everything correctly. Congratulations. By now you should have probably gotten an email with all the information. If not, it will be on its way. And we will be announcing this week's winners 2 weeks from now. Next week, we actually have the 4th of July week, and I will actually be out of the country. So we won't be doing a show next week. We'll have our next Trader Bacon show in 2 weeks from today. So make sure to tune back in for that. And for all of you here in the States particularly, I want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day for that. Don't forget to check me out on the Forge Trader podcast, my podcast on iTunes and Spotify. That has been a lot of fun to do, and we'll have a new episode dropping this week. I believe it's going to be episode 12. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to check that out as well. Now, today on the Trader Bacon Show, it is a lot of fun to have the $1 million traders, the six-figure traders, these dynamic, massive numbers. But what I've found is that a lot of people can't necessarily relate to that level of success as a trader because it's so far beyond where they are. So one of the things that we like to do from time to time is bring on traders who've had just their first payout and really get an idea of what their journey has been like up until this point and see what's starting to work for them and develop that new sense of success that they're seeing as a funded paid trader with Apex Trader Funding. Today, I have Steven with us today, and he's going to share the exciting news about his first payout and so far what he's been doing and what's been working for him on today's episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Steven, what's going on, my man?
Morning, Gates. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure. We got a chance to connect last week, and I just knew that you would be a great guest for the show. Obviously, we've got a ton of traders that watch the show, and everybody's kind of at a different level. And so it's just so great to see all the different points across the journey. I know that you have a massive future ahead of you as a funded trader. And, so it's really great to kind of get a glimpse at that sort of things are just starting to happen in that big way. And so I want to thank you for sharing your experience and your time with us today, man. Thanks for being on here.
Appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
I think we lost volume.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There we go. Yeah, I think the monitors cut out at the very same time. Did not mention this in the very beginning. For those of you watching, make sure to fill out the form on there so that you have a chance to win one of the evaluations that we're giving away from today's show. So, Steven, so talk to me a little bit about your background. How did you get your way into trading in the first place?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people know this story. During COVID, was working from home, trying to find ways to make extra income, and got into some options trading, which, that's quite interesting. It's a whole monster in and of itself.
Right.
And started studying, started learning, started paper trading, started learning about the Greeks, and started digging into YouTube and, played around with that, had a little bit of success. And then I think as maybe we all do, we just branch out. I love learning. I love trading. When I was digging into it, the more the more I discovered, the more I realized that I enjoyed it. And eventually I landed on futures. And when I found out that futures don't have to keep track of any Greeks, and it has nothing to do with the Greeks aren't a part of it. I was like, wow, this makes life a whole bunch easier.
Right.
Little did I know, futures isn't easy.
Well, yeah. Look, when you're looking at 5 different dynamics versus one, yeah, it's not easy, but it's definitely not as complicated. And I know as a former options trader myself, there's that just massive level of frustration when you see the price going in your direction, but your account is starting to dwindle because of that time decay. It's nice knowing that you don't have to be right on so many levels. If you can get the fundamentals and be right on that one level, all of a sudden you start to see things happen, man, right?
Exactly right. And that's what I love about futures. I built a little routine, have a little trading plan.
Mm-hmm.
I stick to that. And as long as I try to stay disciplined and stick to that, things tend to work out. And when you're right, you're right, and then your account isn't going against you.
Exactly. Well, it is definitely a nice feeling. So talk to me about your routine. Like when you get started for the day, what does your routine look like inside and outside of the charts as you prepare for your day?
I'll look at key levels. I'll look at last week's highs, last week's lows, previous day if we're in the middle of the week. Want to check the news, see what type of news we have coming out, be ready for that. So I can stay flat through that. I'm not really a fan of trading that type of volatility. First thing that I do, I'll be honest with you, is I go to the coffee pot and get a cup of coffee, just clear the mind, keep it quiet. I'm a big proponent of meditation, believe it or not. There's a Zen center here in my community, and I'm a teacher there.
Wow.
And so I'm there quite a bit during the week, and that really plays a big part in trading for me.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I've talked about this multiple times on the show, on my podcast, just on social media. One of my trading rules is specifically, I will not trade if I haven't meditated, because I've seen the difference specifically for me. In fact, I don't know if we talked about meditation at all in our previous conversation, but I actually didn't know that you taught at a Zen center. So my guess is your meditation game is a little bit further along than mine. What is it that you find that brings to your trading session?
I think it's clarity. And it reduces that fear. Mm-hmm. And it allows patience to be able to persist. When I have a trading plan, I have things that I look at in order to enter. But we all know that FOMO, and it really plays a part in wiping that all away, allowing me to stay focused, stay clear, stay calmed. That I don't. There was times where I'd get in a trade and my heart is racing, and when that happens, I realize that that's not a good scenario. So that doesn't happen as often as it used to when if I give myself a chance to clear it out, focus and get calm.
I know for me, it almost serves as the same sort of edges I would get from like a beta blocker. I've never taken beta blockers. I know a lot of people who do, and it just kind of calms the nerves down. Yeah, I mean, I've had that twitchy finger and you wear, the heart palpitations. I actually, at one point, I traded for so long where I was just doing these tiny little scalps where I'd literally be in a trade for seconds. If like a 2-minute trade was a long-term trade for me. When I transitioned into longer-term trades, I actually had to do a little bit more than just the meditation. I actually picked up juggling because it would keep my mind and body engaged at the same time. I didn't know how to juggle, and now I'm actually pretty good, believe it or not, because I've gone through this process for so long. but it served that same purpose. I would meditate beforehand, but then I would be in that trade. And then I would start to feel that anxiety, that rush, that whatever you call it, whether it was going with me or against me, I knew that I had to calm those nerves down. And that was a huge, huge factor for me. So anyway, for whatever that's worth, that's worked out pretty well for me. I've actually got my, didn't know I was going to bring these on, but I got my juggling balls right
there.
there.
I want to see
it. So now, as you've developed as a trader, so you've traded a variety of different instruments, and you've gone through the process of, being sort of self-taught, having access to the YouTube world and the dynamic and everything like that. What has it taken for you to get to the point where you now have a consistent strategy that not only that moves you forward, but that has now gotten you paid out with, considering it was your first payout? I mean, it was, between you and I, it was pretty significant. So when you look at that, what has it taken for you to get to that point where you have that level of confidence and certainty in your trade, your strategy is down, and you know what it is that you need to be doing in the moment?
It was a pretty long road, and I don't think the journey ever ends. I really struggled a lot, and this has been an ongoing 5-year, 6-year journey.
Mm-hmm.
I used Apex and prop firms to kind of as my entry into the market. Mm-hmm. Because I paper traded with options, so I knew a little bit about trading. I was, comfortable pressing the button, getting in, getting out, but I was using Apex because paper trading kind of lost its appeal when I felt like I had no skin in the game. So that real emotion, that real factor, just isn't there. And, it was the market, you can make thousands of dollars in seconds. Right. And because that was available, that's what I was trying to do early on. And I realized, it isn't about when I started recognizing the importance of risk management and mitigation, and as long as I'm in the market, I'm putting myself at risk. And I started taking a look at, creating an actual trading plan, back testing strategies, looking at certain setups for entries, knowing before I took a trade where I was going to enter, where I was going to exit, whether it was in profit or loss, and all the different things that we all hear. That is difficult to do. Right. Once I started getting some screen time in doing that, that's when things started to change for me. So it was a lot of, I think the biggest thing is just because I can try to make those big windfalls, I realize that's not where probability, it's not in my favor. So right. Switched it up a bit.
Well, and you made what I think is an incredibly valuable point, is that the journey never ends. All you're doing is going for that next milestone. Not from a sense of greed, but from a sense of growth and development that, hey, you know what, I paper traded successfully, then that loses its appeal. Then we have a little skin in the game, 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever the case may be. It's not a lot, but there's some skin in the game. Now a loss will cost you, but not devastate you. You get to a PA level. Well, again, you've got a little bit more skin in the game. Now, not only do you have another, $100 or whatever in it, but you've also got that time, energy, and effort of passing. So you've got a little more skin in the game. So, when we, back in the day, we would go from paper trading to depositing thousands of dollars. And that was a big dynamic shift. And it was really hard. Look, people have talked about the percentage of traders that make it, and it's very, very small. I'm inclined to believe, I don't have any stats to back this up, but I'm inclined to believe in the modern age of funded trading and prop firms that the success rate has gone up drastically simply because of the amount of time that it gives traders to get past these things. not to mention the smaller steps along the way.
That's interesting because you make a good point. Never really thought of that, because before the space, before the market, and before the industry of prop, you're going from paper trading to placing thousands of dollars into a live account, and that hurdle, right? That next step in the journey is just such a big step.
Right.
There's a lot that needs to be figured out in a very quick amount of time.
Sure.
And most people, or me at least, if I had to do that, I wouldn't have been able to make the mistakes that I did and then learn from them and then come at it at a different angle.
Right.
If I didn't have the apex to rely on.
That's awesome. Well, this was an interesting conversation. We went a little longer than we normally do. I would love to take a look at some charts and see what it is that you're actually doing, that you've been able to put together over this time, that has actually led to your success. We want to take a look at some charts here.
All right. So this is pretty much the indicators that I use. I'm a big fan of the DOM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of cumulative delta.
Mm-hmm.
I got, I got initial balance, and then I use VWAP 200 EMA and 13 EMA, and of course volume as well. And so what I kind of look for is, where, I look at it as the auction,
Mm-hmm.
where are the sellers at, where are the buyers at, what individuals are showing, more support. And then, and kind of coupling it with volume, and depending, like right here, if the market's in between 200 and the 13,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like stays stuck there, I've noticed. So I don't really mess around in any spots in the middle. I kind of wait for, when we're at market highs or lows in order to, select some type of bias. And really a big fan of cumulative delta. We can see here that cumulative delta, if we shorten this chart up, there we go. So we see that price made a new high here,
Mm-hmm.
where it didn't in delta, and then boom, we take a reversal. And because I saw that earlier this morning, I was able to catch a nice trade and ride that down to the initial balance. So I picked up a nice little chunk of change there,
Mm-hmm.
just from that deviation of cumulative delta to price action.
So when you see this, are you looking for a specific bit of price action that tells you, okay, I'm seeing this lack of confluence and I want to see X happen before I jump into this trade?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we see price action and delta, paralleling, and then we see volume as well, kind of dropping off right here.
Right.
And so when we have a volume drop, especially for, a fade, when we have and so this is also capping out on high of the day right here.
Right.
So it was a really good indicator. A lot of things happening, a lot of things confluencing in order to recognize that, hey, this is the probability for, a reversal.
Mm-hmm.
And I set my stops, know where my pain threshold is.
Mm-hmm.
If it caps up about 20 ticks above, I'm going to get out. But
Right.
if it starts to reverse, I'm staying in a trade, and so with that particular trade, I don't have really necessarily an exit point. I'm allowing my stop loss to trail, so I can lock in my profits. And VWAP's going to be an important spot,
Mm-hmm.
right? VWAP at that time was correlating with the 50, which is
Right.
a psychological number for me. And so that was a very good, that was a very important time where price could either jump back up or push through. If it was going to jump back up, it would hit my trailing stop, and we'd have profit. And if it went through, I'd continue in the trade.
Gotcha. Now, as you go through this process, is this essentially what most of your trades look like, or do you have a few different ideas that you're working with that you're looking for happening at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different things that I look at. Like I said, I like to play the initial balance and the highs and the lows of the range as well. So if I have price coming towards initial balance, I'll put on a trade with a tight stop. That's a very low price for me, very low cost to get into a trade, those type of trades. So anything coming at initial balance low, I'll set a stop loss at about 15 ticks below it. And if it hits that, hey, probability is that I was wrong. If it doesn't and it reverses, then kind of same idea as before, put that trailing stop loss in and look for key levels to pay attention to recognize if I need to get out or I need to continue into the trade.
Looking for some hesitation, some potential reversals and things like that.
And that's where the DOM comes in very handy too, because the momentum, I don't know, I think, and I'm still really practicing this and learning. It's ongoing growth for me. But I think, to see the variation, the influences in the DOM, it just takes a lot of screen time in order to, and then a lot of, I guess, intimacy with the product that you're working with. For me, it's NQ, to really know how that product moves generally, in order to make use of the DOM as far as from a momentum standpoint when it is moving into those key levels.
It's one of the things that I love about having this conversation on this show, because we see that there's so many different ways to approach this. There's so many ways to interpret the information, and it really boils down to what information is meaningful to you. And if you've tested it and traded it, and then you now have your perfect recipe. I gotta thank John. Hit the like button, folks. I appreciate you, man. Yes, like, comment, subscribe. I got to have John come in and start doing my promotions over here or something like that, man. I appreciate the shout out there. So this is obviously, like I said, we just kind of had that first payout. It was a pretty sizable payout. What has this done for you? I mean, at this point, you were trading with your own funds prior to being a funded trader, right? So at this point, what are you seeing different? What has changed for you in the dynamics of how you trade?
As far as the dynamics, I was able to open up my personal account a little broader, put a little bit more risk on. Really what it's allowing me to do is I'm creating a cushion for myself, and I'm thinking that in the next 30 days, if things keep going well, because the way that these accounts are set up, as long as I build a buffer for myself, once that first payout happens, and as long as I'm continuing to knock out base hits, you can really leverage that account to the next payout a lot easier than having a fresh account. And so I'm thinking the day might come to where I might be able to work for myself.
That's a beautiful thing. Now, your current life is, are you working like a typical 9 to 5? Do you have the typical 40, 50 hour work? I don't think 40 hours is typical anymore. So what does that change for you? What happens to Steven's life if you can make your living full-time via trading?
Amazing. That would just be, it would kind of be the dream, really. I wouldn't have to wake up, go to the gas station, put $50 in to drive 50 minutes to work, and then then at 7:30 drive back another hour, because I'm doing that 5 days a week right now. And that allows me to be home with my wife and the kids more.
Yeah.
That would just be a whole new world for us. That'd be amazing.
So you've been trading for several years now. I mean, is this the first time you've really seen this light, this opportunity in your world as a trader?
Yeah, really is. Like I said, the things have just started for me, really clicking.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency, that
Right.
discipline. It took a long time to get here. I don't know when it happens for everybody. This kind of just is the moment that it's happening for me.
Right.
Like things are just starting to fall into place, make sense. I'm seeing things a little clearer, and that consistency is really starting to play out. Where before it was just my trading was so volatile, and I think that just comes in time. That comes with with me practicing my strategy more and more, me building that relationship with that instrument that I'm trading more and more. And once I kind of chalk it up to like a major league ball player. You're in park ball, you go to high school, you go to college, you go to the triple A's, and then
Right.
you go to the majors, and it's all progression and it's all practice. And
Mm-hmm.
at every level, things get a little clearer and a little smoother, and everything meshes together a little bit more and more. And I think that's kind of what's happening for me right now.
Well, and I think honestly, that's one of the reasons that I was really excited about having you on the show this week, is because, there's no shortage of 6-figure, 7-figure traders on the internet sharing their quote unquote wisdom. And some of it's fantastic, and some of we all know what some of it is. But I think there's a massive shortage of having the opportunity to see kind of that threshold moment. Like I just hit this major milestone in my world as a trader, and here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I've experienced. Because let's face it, 10 years from now, when you're making 7-8 figures as a trader, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, you're not going to remember this moment the same way that you can express it right now as it's happening. And I love the idea of being able to share this and show this, because I know for me, I'm still coming along. My journey still has a long way to go as well. And it's just, I think that's great for people to see, especially when they're maybe almost there. It's just that realization that there really is that one moment that pushes you over that threshold. So as we wrap up here, first and foremost, folks, if you have not done so already, make sure to fill out the form. It's right there in the chat. Get your chance at one of the free evaluations. Again, we won't be having a show next week, 4th of July week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. So make sure to set your calendars. I know that when a couple weeks go by, we tend to forget things. Don't forget the Trader Bacon Show. We're going to have some great stuff for you then as well. And I would absolutely love it if you guys wanted to come check me out at the Forged Trader podcast on iTunes and Spotify. I've had a lot of fun doing it. It's been really, really meaningful and sometimes even emotional for me to do this show. But just like Steven's doing with us today, this is me sharing my journey in real time, the good, the bad, the ugly. I blew some accounts last week. It was pretty emotionally scarring because the day before was such a great day. And these are the things that people who've been successful for 10 years just can't remember and can't really share in a meaningful way, in my humble opinion. I will leave it at that. Steven, man, thank you for taking some time and sharing with us today your world of trading, how it's coming along for you. And look, I wish you massive, massive success. I can't wait to see the day when you can call me up, got my number. You can call me up and say, hey, Gates, I quit the job today. I'm spending time with my wife and my kids, and it's all due to trading. And I'm so looking forward to that moment from you.
Thanks so much, Gates. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really wonderful to be able to share this, because like I said, I wish I could hear this, could have heard someone like this say, stick with it. There's going to be that point that it all comes together, and to kind of give everybody that validation and that support in order to stick with it.
trading has the potential to be very, very lonely. We forget that there are these communities out there that we can share. This is the whole reason the show exists, not just to, promote Apex. Yes, we love Apex. Apex is awesome, but there is an opportunity to really share that journey at different points along the way so that everybody has an opportunity to see what maybe that next step will look like. And I think that you've done an amazing job of sharing what that next step is hopefully going to be like for quite a few of the traders watching the show today. So anyway, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Steven, I'll chat with you soon, and we'll see you guys on the next Trader Bacon Show. Thanks for joining the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon.